Yeah, so thank you guys for jumping on. One of the things that I'm going to talk about is being plugged in. And I think that when I look back at why I was able to find success in this industry so quickly, I think a lot of it had to do with being open-minded and wanting and willing to learn from other people. Um, Obviously, like there's some people that come into it that have done some high level things, that have done sales at a high level, that have great mentors in life. And a lot of people come in, and this might not be everybody, but a lot of people come in and they're like, man, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to kill it. And I'm always like, I'm excited for you. And I truly hope you do. But what I've learned is that this industry is a little bit different than a lot of the other industries that are out there. And if we're not open-minded to learn, then we're closing off, taking in so much valuable information that can help us be super successful. So one of the things that I'm really grateful that I did when I got into it was be really open-minded. And again, like going from 12 months ago, like I got my license. It's now 13 months ago, I got my license, and I didn't sell anything for 2 months. And I tried part-time and I just wasn't able to do it. And when I think about that, I think a lot of it had to do because I was just doing it here and there. I didn't really build up enough information to be able to make better decisions, to speak better, to know what company to use, to how to get people to actually say yes on the phone with me today. And I was limiting myself because of the amount of time that I was putting in and the amount of attention I was putting towards this. But right when I started to do really well, it was because I did these 5 things that we're going to go over. And once I started to plug in, and I was going to go over these different things, but once I started to do these different things, I was able to write consistently over 30,000 a month it's been ever since I started. So I want to teach you guys a little bit about this, kind of the process that I went through to be able to get there. And I think it's going to be really, really valuable for you guys. So again, I'm just going to kind of give a quick story. Dropped out of school at the end of March last year, hadn't sold anything. When full-time, my first week, my first 3 days, I didn't sell anything. And I dialed for 12 hours a day on and off. And then I started to sell every single day after that. And ever since then, I've been able to kind of build up this consistency thing of being able to sell pretty much every single day when I choose to dial. And when I really put that through my barometer of why that happened and why I was able to find that, it's these 5 things that I'm going to go over with you guys. So if you guys have a pen and paper, the first thing I want you guys to write down is plug in. I just talked about it just briefly, but it is so important that we stay plugged in. It is so important that we're all open-minded to everybody else inside the industry. And when we're not, I want to give you guys a quick comparison. Let's say that there's a team of 5 people doing something, and there's a team of 1 person trying to figure something out, right? Think about this. If Bob on Monday learns something, he can tell the other 4 people. And now the other 4 people don't have to go through those growing pains that Bob went through to figure that out, because now they can just get that information and make better decisions because Bob went through that, right? On the flip side of things, if John's over here by himself and he learns this thing by himself, or let's say he's not a part of this group and he doesn't learn from this person here. So now John has to eventually screw up or run into that wall himself to be able to learn that, right? So the last thing I want to do is think I know everything. And I want to be open-minded to learning from new people. And I want to be plugged in because there's people in the industry that are running trainings like this, that are having calls, that are teaching, that have done the things that I want to do. So I want to stay plugged in. Okay. And when I think back 12 months ago, I was on every single call. I never missed a Zoom call. I took notes on every single one. I have a full notebook over here that has all of the notes I ever got from the first 5 months of trainings. And I would read this stuff day in and day out to try to solidify all the things that I was learning, because I wanted to be really, really good at this. So I stayed plugged in. I was always on every single call. And I get it, life gets in the way. You're not always going to be able to, but there's so much information that I wanted to learn it as fast as possible. And the best way that I could do that was by staying plugged in, because everyone's trying to do the same thing. The second thing that I want you guys to take down is just being open-minded to actually learning a new strategy or information from someone else. like I mentioned this just briefly here a minute ago too, but a lot of times people come in and they're like, I'm going to kill it. I don't like, I'm good, man. I'm super like independent. I'll figure it out. And I'm like, dude, like I've already done it. Like, just let me help you. Like, I want you to win. Right. So like, I want you guys to be open-minded to the information that I'm sharing. And if you're not going to be, you're handcuffing yourself to the results that you're able to get. And believe me, like if we think about this in like a staircase, like you guys might be 2 steps up, 3 steps up the staircase, but I'm like 15 or 20. I've done it so many more times than you guys have. And I'm not like gassing myself up. I'm just saying, like, I can see things that you guys don't see it. I know what's coming that you guys haven't been able to see yet. And I can kind of guide you guys and help you guys learn the things that you need to know. If you guys can, number one, stay plugged in and just be open-minded to learning the new information that I can provide to you guys. The third thing is and no one likes this one, but it's get in there and do the work, try it, and be open-minded to the feedback, right? Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, the best thing that you can do is just start making calls, start getting on the phone, start trying to communicate with people, and then come back to me and be like, this is what happened. Because when you come back to me and you're like, man, this is what happened, I'm like, cool. Now we know where we can adjust. But if we don't have any activity, then we can't adjust anything. So I want you guys all, and this is when I think back, and I'm trying to put this all through, like when I was going through it to become 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000 producer a month, like these are the core principles that I've been implementing in the decisions that I was making that led to those results, right? I just started dialing. Like someone said, yeah, the best way to learn is just by picking up the phone and doing it. So I just started doing it. I got my butt kicked for 2 months. I didn't make a sale, 5,000 dials, no sales. But the amount of information that I learned because I made all those calls gave me so much room to grow, because I was like, that works, this doesn't. I'm going to avoid saying this. I know how to walk people down that part of the script now. When people object, I know how to overcome it because I did it so many times. And I was going to people and saying, man, why, like, how can you get past this part? Like, what do you say here? Like, how can you pull up all these tabs on your computer screen and like know what to do? Like, I was just asking questions and getting feedback from people once I started to do the work. So just getting in there and actually being a part of the work, even if I wasn't that confident in it, gave me so much experience and knowledge to be able to go to people and get some feedback, because I had a baseline like amount of information to learn from now. And I say this all the time with people. It's like, when you guys come into this, it's like, we want you to run hard, play hard. And then I want you guys to come back to me and be like, hey, this isn't working. This is working. These are my results. Like, this is where I'm at. And I want to be here. What do we have to do to get me here? Because like, I can help you do that. I just need to know where you're at so we can get you to where you want to go. But if we don't have any activity, if we don't do any of the work, then there's nothing to adjust, right? So we need to have something to adjust. It starts with that activity level. And then the fourth thing, after we do all of this, is be consistent with the first 3 steps and disciplined enough to make those dials and repeat this cycle. Okay, so we're going to stay plugged in. Even once we start doing a little bit better, we start to see some results, we're going to keep staying plugged in, because there's always more information that we need to know. And the people that are running these trainings and the people that are giving the information have been where I want to go, and they're way more steps up the ladder than I am. And I need to learn from them. I'm going to keep being open-minded to their information that they're going to provide, because I know that they can see things in the industry that I can't. So I'm always going to listen to the people that have been to the higher levels, because I know that they can see more than I can. They know what's ahead. They know how to plan for that stuff. So they're going to guide me in the direction that I need to go. And I'm always going to be trying what they're telling me and implementing those things into the decisions that I'm making. And I'm going to get new feedback from them based off of those results. That never changes. As long as you're in the business, as long as you're in the industry, that will never change. And that's like just anything in life, right? Like, if I'm trying to get good at anything, I need to continuously do these things and plug in with people that are doing the things that I want to do, or have been where I want to go with, like, no matter what. So as time goes on and we're starting to kind of stack up some experience and some knowledge and some information, the worst thing that we can do is unplug and think that we have it all figured out, that we got it all down, and that I'm great and I know everything now. Because then I get hit with a roadblock and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like maybe I get a chargeback or two, and like I don't know that it's just a part of the business that chargebacks come. And now I'm freaking out because I'm like, man, this is broken. The industry's broken. I didn't know that. But in all reality, it's a part of the game. But when you're consistent and you write business consistently, it doesn't even matter, because one of the 10 policies that you write a week takes care of the chargeback from 2 months ago. But if I didn't tell someone that, and if someone didn't tell me that 8 months ago when I started, I would be like, holy crap, like I owe America $800. Where am I going to get $800? But like in all reality, it's a wash with your next policy. So now you just understand that one of your 10 policies a week goes towards, the debt that you had from your chargeback. And it's just a part of the game. Guys, like McDonald's buys napkins and they don't charge anybody for napkins. Like they're giving those away for free. It's business. It's the cost of doing business. So I'm understanding that piece as well. That's very important. So we're going to keep coming back and getting feedback consistently. Now, the fifth thing is going to be volume. We want to do this a lot. We want more experience, more knowledge, more wisdom, and we're going to continuously do these things. And we can get into the nuance, actually what to do within all of this stuff. But these are the core principles that I used myself to get to be a consistent minimum $30,000 a month producer. Okay, so number one is being plugged in all the time. Number two is going to be open-minded. I'm going to be open-minded to learning from people, anybody that's been to a higher level than I have. I'm going to try what they're telling me, and then I'm going to go get feedback from those people, because they're teaching me how to be great. And I need to take what they're saying seriously and implement it. Come back and say, hey, these are my results. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What can I change? This is where I want to be. This is my results now. What do I have to do differently? Okay. I'm going to be consistent on getting on the calls, being plugged in, staying open-minded, and getting new feedback, because there's always a new level to the game. And the last thing, again, is the volume. I'm going to do this a lot because, like I said, I still do this today. And there's people way farther ahead of me inside this game that we get to play that I'm still learning from, because I know that there's things that I can't see yet and that I'm learning as I go. So I can get into the nuances of it a little bit here. I'm going to take a sip of water though, real quick. When I think back to when I started, right? Like I said, hadn't made a sale, had 5,000 dials, did it part-time for 2 months, didn't see any results. I still, there's probably anybody, like 100 people out of 100 probably would have said, yeah, this is a dumb decision, because I had no results and I still was going all in on myself with it, and took out a loan to take out and buy my first batch of leads. And when I did that, I still thought that this was going to work just because I believed in Brad, because I just listened to Brad's podcast for like 2.5 years before that. And I just thought if I just kept staying plugged in, if I just kept learning, I would eventually figure it out. And I didn't know when it was going to happen. And I kind of describe it like this. It was like walking up a foggy mountain, not being able to see your next step, but like eventually you knew you were going to get to like the top of the mountain and it was going to like flatten out. And you're like, I think the top's coming soon, but like, I don't know when it's going to come. And that's what it was like. So like I said, when I left school, I committed to doing these things without really like ahead of time saying like, I'm going to commit to these 5 things. This is just what I did. And I always got on every single call. I stayed implementing the things that I was learning and adjustments that I was finding inside the business. I was getting feedback from other people that have already sold. And again, I was being consistent on all of the first 3 things and my schedule. And the volume of what I was doing increased over time because I was able to get enough foundation from the first 3 and 4 things to be able to be great at this. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the details of it. Being plugged in. What do I mean by that? I mean, getting on the calls. I mean, listening to different people's intros in the live dials. I mean, staying on live dials so other people can give me information on what I'm saying incorrectly, because Mallory has sold a bunch of insurance and I haven't, and she knows more than I do. And she knows that when people just say, call me back, it's not actually an appointment. People are just blowing off, having a conversation with me more times than not. Right. Like if I'm not there to learn from someone that's already doing it, like I would think that I have a full calendar when all of the appointments that I'm setting are just people avoiding, having a conversation with me. And they're really just getting out of being on the phone with me. So that's being plugged in, right? Open-minded to learning. I have a script. I have things that I'm going to say on the call. I have, an intro. I have the way that I lead up to when I present the numbers. I have a why section, right? Like I'm going to try all this stuff and I'm going to do it the best that I can. And I'm going to be getting feedback from people like I just kind of talked about, but I'm going to be trying the baseline things and then I'm going to be making adjustments, right? So as time goes on, I'm like, and this is exactly what happened. I was doing this over and over and over again. And I was leading up to the numbers and I was like, this person, I really hope that they're going to get it. Like I need to make some money. Like I knew that this had to happen eventually. And I'm like, come on, like this guy's got to buy. It's day 3, no money in my bank account. I owe the bank $1,500. I got rent to pay in 30 days. Someone's got to buy, right? And they're still not buying. So I called somebody and I said, hey, I need to figure this out. Like, it's not cool. Like, what do I need to change? And he's like, this is what you have to do differently. When you go here, when you talk about this section, you want to get into detail a little bit more. Your why section is too short. Your understanding the situation section is too short. You want them to talk more, explain their problems to you a little bit more, and then explain like the solution that you can provide for them and how great that's going to be for them. And I was like, geez, man, like that's so simple. And he's like, I know, right? I do it every single day, twice. And I'm like, dang, you sell 2 policies a day? And he's like, yeah, man, I sell 2 policies a day. I got some new information. The next day, finally, I was able to start selling, right? So if I didn't communicate with somebody who knew what they were doing, I would have never figured it out. So it is super selfish of me to think that I'm going to be smart enough to come into a brand new industry and just kill it. Like it's just not going to happen. And the best way we can learn is to, number 1, be on the live dials, have other people help critique us. And it's a good thing. It's constructive criticism. I'm going to learn from people that are doing it. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to put my ego in front of me. Like I want to be on those, I want people to tell me what I'm doing wrong. So then I can make more money. I can be better at what I do. It's cool. It's a good thing. Right. And then, again, being able to reach out to people and communicate with people that are doing it so we can learn from them. And that's really why I'm here, guys, because I've been able to do this. I mean, I've sold tons of policies and I've been able to make a lot of money doing it. And I want you guys to be able to have the same results. So I want to help you guys do that. So you guys, if you guys come to me, I'm going to help you. And there's becoming more and more people. So it's more difficult for me to stay as plugged in directly with people. But if you guys come to me, if you guys stay plugged in the Discord, if you guys get on the trainings, you guys ask questions to me, I'll give you guys everything I know, because I know that this industry and business has changed my life. And I know that it can change yours too, as long as you follow these 5 things and you stay plugged in and you communicate the things that you guys need to know and where you guys are now to where you want to go. And then like I say, consistency, discipline, and volume for 4 and 5, because when I started to do good in this industry, I knew that there was going to be things that were going to change. Like I didn't fully understand the entire business, I guess I should say. I didn't know that there was going to be chargebacks. I didn't know if my lead sources would change, like the quality of them. So I was just trying to be as consistent as possible and do it day in and day out. And I was just trying to really like get the skills down so I could do it with any kind of lead, any kind of person, mad, angry, upset, like whatever kind of policy, it didn't matter. I was just trying to be all over it. So every single day I would start dialing at 8 a.m. and I would dial until like at least 6 or 8 p.m. at night. And I'll take a couple breaks during the day and like go for walks and like eat and like do stuff like that. But I knew that I wanted to fast track where I wanted to go. So I was putting a ton into it. Okay. And like, this is a huge thing for me because it's not like we report to anybody. We don't like clock in and out, like have someone that's like breathing down our neck. That's like, hey man, like, where were you at 8? No, man. Like if I wanted to, I could take a week off and no one's going to say anything to me. And a lot of times I find in this business, most people, they don't quit. They just stop doing the stuff, like they just stop making calls. And I get it, but like this industry has so much to offer and provide for us that I want you guys to see that. And it comes through discipline, the consistency, and the volume, right? Like where I am now, the amount of information that I have now, I know so much more than I did even when I was selling at the highest I ever was. And like I was writing a ton of business, but I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I changed this. I wish I did that a little bit differently. I could have got more on my time there. I could have saved time by doing this. I could have followed up and gotten referrals by doing that. Like I know more about the industry now just because I put so much volume into it and I was so consistent for so long. So out of those 5 things, guys, is there anything that you guys have questions about? And then I'm going to walk through a couple more things with you. But just really quickly on those 5 things, any questions?
Hey, Tyler.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, what's up, man? So, I mean, I know you didn't have a full-time job, so it might be a little bit different for you to speak to it. I talked to DK about this a while back on one of his calls, one of his Friday calls. He took over for Ryan. But anyway, on the whole, like going full-time thing versus part-time, because right now I'm just part-time because I'm still in the car business. So, I mean, I guess, what did that look like for you? Like, again, you didn't have a full-time job, so the decision might have been different for you, but because that's what I'm kind of going through right now, like mentally with myself. Like I need car business money to buy leads. So I'm like stuck in sold a couple of policies, which is good, but I'm like just stuck in like, I don't know, I'm just stuck right now.
No, dude, you're not stuck, man. You're doing everything right. You're playing your cards the best that you can. And we all have a different hand that we're dealt, and we all have a different way to play it. Right. So like you're doing all the right things. And where you are today, I bet you feel 10 times better about where you are now than where you were 2 months ago, right? Like I remember when you got started with us. And I know that all of the experience and the information that you're gaining is stacking up. And now you're way more educated. Right? Like you weren't as educated as you are now 3 weeks ago. So now you're able to make some better decisions. You're able to speak to people better on the phone. You're able to talk about policies more. You know more about the underwriting, so it doesn't take you as much time to figure out what company you're going to go to. Like you're doing the right things and you're stacking up all of this information and knowledge so when you do go full-time, and I'll answer your question here in a second, but when you do go full-time, you're going to have all this info now that is sound and it's foundational to what you're doing because you've put in all that time. Does that make sense, man? Like you're doing all the right stuff and it's a process.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I totally agree with you. Like you're absolutely right. From when I started till now, I mean, yeah, it's a total change. So yeah, no, you're definitely making sense there. I agree 100%.
Cool, man. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that you had a positive outlook on that because it is good. You're doing all the right stuff. What I'll say though is to answer your question, for me, man, when I made the decision, it was just like, I mean, I was just tired of being where I was. Some stuff happened in my life. Like I said, like, some of you guys know my story a little bit. Like I was skipping all my classes at this point to dial. And like I kind of tanked my grades and I had a 3.8 in school. And I was just like, I'm dropping out either way. Like it's happening at this point because I just didn't want the result. I didn't want to go and get a job. And I knew that I didn't want the degree, which is different than your situation. But at that point, I was just all in. I had already made the decision that this was going to be the vehicle and the route for me. And there was no hesitation. There was like, I was so tunnel visioned on that when I did go full time, I was all in. Like there was no screwing around, beating around the bush. So for you, man, what I would say is keep stacking up your wins like you are, keep stacking up the information. And when you do dial, get on live dials, let some people critique you, let some people hear you, man. Cause like Dominic, Mallory, Kendall, there's all these people on there that have been doing it longer that just know a little bit more, and being plugged in with everybody like that is really, really helpful, man. And just be really disciplined with the time that you do have to dial, right? So like if you pick like, maybe it's like 10 hours a week, man. I don't, and that's a solid amount of time that you can spend dialing. But if it's 10 hours a week, like let's make sure that you're hitting at least your 10 hours a week every single week. So we can start to just like, we're not like 10 hours here, 4 hours this week because I'm part-time, so I can do it when I feel like the more that you put in, the more that you're going to get out. And it really is a direct correlation between input and output like that. Does that help?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think that once you feel comfortable enough to, when you sit down for your dial sessions where you're like, yeah, I just got to find someone that's open-minded and I'm going to sell a policy, like in that click in your brain, when you feel that confident, I think that you are ready to go full time. And that's just, my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Cause like I do have that already, but it's just like, yeah, you just got to find one, some days you do, some days you don't, but like you say, you just got to find that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. I got to have it like every single day consistently. Is that kind of like what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it, dude. And once you can get that like mentality and the mindset, and you just have I guess it really is just it is just the, outside circumstances, I guess, I don't like to blame things on anything else, but like once it is just like, man, did I find someone that I had an opportunity to get to, that was open-minded enough to let me get through my intro today. Like if I got hung up on my intro 18 times, I got to change my intro probably, but like there's not a lot I could have done there to work through that wiggle room to get them to get to the numbers. But like once you can get to that point where you're that confident and you believe that for every single time someone picks up the phone, like if they let me get through my intro, bro, I'm selling them a policy, right? Like that's how I think. I'm like every single time I'm like, if someone lets me get through my intro, like dude, done deal, you're getting a policy. And I still don't close like over 50%, but like it's still my mentality, I'm like, woo, intro's done, just got to play all these cards right, these next the next pieces of the puzzle, and then we're gonna get you a policy. And people still hang up on me and all that, but I mean, I think that once your mentality turns to that's you're in a really healthy spot.
All right, cool.
Cool, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And I'm gonna let's see what we got here. What has helped me is yeah, I love it, dude. I love it, Liam.
Hey man, oh sorry.
Yeah, let's go. What do you got, Dallas?
So I'm kind of in the same boat. And I was asking Andy about it, like how can I, better, like how can I kind of handle, both my car job and starting the life insurance at the same time. He was telling me to time block like the days. But so like how much time like should I like make sure minimum that I have for this, like per week or like per day or whatever?
Yeah. So, I mean, dude, I would recommend that you try to hit 15 hours a week minimum. And, it might be a grind for a little bit, but I think that you need to get as much experience doing it before you can make a jump. And like, I say that because like, let's just say someone, and I'll do some math here just to kind of prove the point. Let's say someone for 30 days does one dial session a day for 6 days a week, which is 4 hours for 6 days a week in a 4-week month is going to be 96 hours. Okay. That's one dial session for 6 days a week. You're going to get 96 hours of experience for 1 month. Let's say someone does 2 dial sessions of 4 hours times 6 days a week times 4 weeks. That's 192. All right. Now we're starting to see some serious difference in the amount of information that we're going to be able to get. Let's say someone does 3, because this is what I was doing. 3 dial sessions that are 4 hours long is 12 hours a day for 6 days a week. for 4 weeks is 288 hours of experience. So like the reason that I show you guys that is because as time goes on and the longer that you spend in the business and the more information that you get and the more you get hung up on and the more you figure out what works and what doesn't and all this stuff that happens, you're able to look back and go, man, now I know what to do because I've seen what works and what doesn't. So I can make better decisions. I have more information to be able to make better decisions about how to run my business. Cool. I'm really educated. And in 30 days, you can be, 3 times as far ahead as someone who doesn't make any decisions for their first 30 days, right? So to answer your question, Dallas, I would say if you can find a way to at least get 15 hours a week, if you can do more, man, absolutely do it because you want to front load your experience. Like you want to get as much as you can in the first 30 days as possible. Because then you're going to be able to look ahead and say, all right, now I know how to structure my day. Now I have a system. Now I have the consistency. I have, a schedule worked out, my lead flow. I know what sources I'm going to use. Like now you have all this information to be able to be really consistent. So for you, man, I would say get as much as you can in. I would try to shoot for like 15 to 20 hours a week minimum. And if you can do more, absolutely do it because you're only going to benefit from the more that you do. Does that help out a little bit?
Yeah. I just have to, organize. But yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about a couple different things, and we can do a little bit of Q&A too in a little bit. But I wanted to go over this stuff with you guys too. A couple of things that are up in the air for adjustment as time goes on inside the industry. Okay. The biggest thing is going to be, scripts, saying things that are comfortable for you, and tonality, right? Tonality and scripts, the questions that you ask during the process and how to get them to say yes today is the next thing. Right. And so at the beginning, it's like, I'm going to follow the script. I'm going to learn that because it is a proven system of how to get someone to be open-minded to say yes to buying insurance. But as time goes on, I know that there's more that I can filter in there and add, and I can get a little bit more creative with my, the rapport that I can build and the friendliness that I can have to get them to want to do business with me today. But this only comes from experience. So I have to do the baseline to be able to make those adjustments, right? So I'm going to share this with you guys because I think it's really, really important. The things that I would focus on if I was a brand new agent, if I was brand new, right? I'm going to say them again really quick, and then I'm going to give you guys some tactical things, some numerical things to track to help you get to where you want to go. The first thing, again, plug in. Number 2, open-mindedness and willingness to learn from other people that have been where you want to go. Number 3 is going to be try the things that I'm supposed to try and get feedback. And even if it doesn't work, it's good because you're gaining experience. Now you can start to make adjustments. Number 4 is going to be consistent and disciplined with the first 3 things. And then the 5th thing is a ton of volume of all of it. You want volume. And you want to do it over and over and over again until the point when people literally pick up the phone, you're thinking, perfect, we're going to get you a policy. We just have to check off a couple of these boxes here and get through this process. I have to build a relationship with you, and we're going to get you that policy, right? That's all we're doing. So tactically, how to do that? Number 1, we're going to do as many, and I'm not saying give up your life. I'm not saying you got to do what I did and move out of the house that you're in and, forget every other obligation that you've ever had in your entire life because you just want this to work so badly. I'm saying you want to put a lot of time into it because you're going to be able to get more out of that. Again, the input in this industry is directly correlated with the output. Okay. So what I recommend is at least 2 4-hour dial sessions a day. And we're not screwing around on them. We're not scrolling on Instagram. I'm trying to find people to talk to. And it blows my mind sometimes because I talk to agents and they're like, yeah, it's hard for me to dial the phone. I was struggling to get people on the phone. I didn't want to dial. And I'm like, dude, that's where the money is. Like, that is literally what our job is. Like, our job is to dial the phone. We have to. Like we literally have to. And there's some other, like, you can do like live transfers and things like that. Those are way more expensive. I don't recommend any new agents do that, but like there's other ways to get people on the phone, like higher intent leads, more expensive leads. So you don't have to do it as much, but like at the beginning, it's either you have time or you have money, right? Like for me at the beginning, I had a lot of time because I just got dumped by my girlfriend. I just dropped out of school. I moved in with a friend at a friend's house and I just lived in his guest bedroom and I just dialed all day long. Like I had time. I was buying aged leads and I was calling them a million times. That's all I did. And I had a lot of time. I didn't have any money. So I had to work harder to get my results. But now I have money and I don't have as much time. So I do screw around with live transfers. I screw around with different leads, like more expensive leads, because I know that I have to call less of them to get more people to answer and be open-minded to talk, right? Like it's one or the other. It's like you can't just, I guess, expect everybody to be able to answer the phone and like on ring number one of the day and be open-minded to having a conversation and buying, right? Like we have to have volume. So I recommend 2 dial sessions a day so we can get enough activity to come across enough people to have conversations. Okay, when we do that, we're going to be able to get 5 presentations a day. We should have 2 to 3 per session. That's our goal. Okay. And I want to have an activity level that is super high. I like to just say that I'm going to have the mindset that I'm going to dial 300 people in the next 4 hours. I never hit that. I've literally never, ever hit that many dials in 4 hours. But my mindset is like, I need to find people. I'm hammering it. Like, who's next? Come on. I got hung up on. Doesn't matter. Like, I got to get someone on the line here. I get paid when I get people on the phone. So sulking and getting sad about someone hanging up on me helps me zero. I need to find someone. Like, it's cool. I'm on live dials. Like, I laugh about it when people hang up on me. I'm like, that guy doesn't know what he's missing out on. You know what I mean? Like, it can't bother you because it doesn't matter. We need to find the next person. Who's next? I got a whole list of these people for a reason. I got to get my dials in. So I'm dialing. I'm going hard. And I'm finding people that are open-minded. And those are the people that I'm getting my 2 to 3 presentations on. And through that, I should be able to get 1 to 2 sales a day is my goal, right? So if I can get my 5 presentations, it's 2 4-hour sessions, mindset of 300 dials. I'm going to get 2 to 3 presentations each session, which leads to 5 a day. From that 5 a day, I should be able to sell 1 to 2 policies, which means profit for the week. Super simple, right? But it starts with that activity level. It starts with dialing the phone. It starts with getting people on the line to be able to talk to us, right? I could be the smoothest person on the phone, done phone sales my whole life. I could be able to overcome every objection that anyone's ever going to throw at me. But if I make 10 calls a day, I'm not selling any policies. Like the numbers just aren't there, right? Realistically, mathematically speaking, from a numerical standpoint, if my answer rate is 10%, and I make 100 dials in a session, I will have 10 people answer. And these are some ballpark figures from here, but think about this. Let's say 3 hang up on me in my intro. So now I'm left with 7 people. Out of that 7, I get 3 people to the end of my script and I present to 3 of them. Okay. That's pretty good. That's good. But a lot of people see it as like, oh man, I got hung up on way more times than I did presentations. Oh man, more people didn't answer than answered. But it's okay. So we have to change our mindset to understand that the numbers are a little bit backwards to things that we're used to. If I was in college and I got a 30% on an exam, I would be like, man, that's not that good. Like, that's an F. But I make this comparison all the time. But in baseball, if you're a 30% average batting average, you could be an all-star in the MLB. Like, those guys get out more times than they do get on base, but they're still successful in baseball, right? So that's got to be our mindset. We have to have the same kind of attitude when we're dialing and when we're presenting. Because even if I make 1 sale off of 5 presentations in a day, I made money. I just have to do that every day of the week. And I have room to grow. There's so much more room to grow. So those are the numbers and the things that I would be focusing on if I could go back and I could literally write out a game plan for myself, that's what I would do every single day. I would follow those 5 principles that I mentioned to you guys, and I would follow that structure of the KPIs, the key performance indicators that I just mentioned. And I know for a fact, if I didn't do anything else, if those are the only things that I did, I would kill it. I would freaking smash it. And I might pick it up slower than someone else does. But just because I followed all of those things, there's no doubt that I would be successful. Absolutely zero doubt that you would be very, very good at this. So that is Tyler's wacky Sunday night blueprint to kill it. If you guys have any questions on this stuff, we can hash some things out. But I think that this stuff is like when I think back, again, when I think back to having zero experience in sales, zero experience in insurance, zero experience in anything business. I didn't know anything about the industry. I was just a kid that read books and listened to podcasts. And I just decided to go full in. And these are the 5 things that I did to be successful without knowing. I didn't have a guide and like a blueprint. I just was throwing stuff up and like seeing what stuck. And when I look back, these are the things that I was doing like unawaringly, but were driving my results and helping me to get to the point that I am at now. So, if you guys have any questions, we can rip a little Q&A. And I mean, it's Sunday night. I don't want to keep you guys here for 6 hours or anything. So anything that I can help you guys with, clean some of this stuff up, make anything a little bit more clear.
Yeah, I have a question for like the kind of like the feedback portion.
Sure, bro.
So like, do you record like your live dials with people, then like send them to someone who's been doing this for a long time and ask them like, where would you have done stuff differently, or kind of like, what is your process for getting feedback from people?
Yeah, man. So I do record my calls. And when I started, it was all just a live dial Zoom room. And people were literally like, you need to change this, you need to change that. Like, you sound okay here, but like adjust this, you should ask these questions. So I was getting like live feedback after my calls, but I was recording my calls and I was sending them to people that were willing to help me. And like I said before, I want all of you guys to be able to be successful with this. I don't even care if you're on my team directly. Like, I just know that this industry has changed my life and it has the power to change everybody else's as well. So I want you guys to kill it. So like, I'm here to help you guys, and whatever I can do to be able to do that. If you guys want to send me calls, I'll listen to them. I'll be able to pick stuff up pretty quickly because I've been doing this for a little while now. So you guys feel free to reach out to me, and we're all in the Discord together too. Like this is the other thing that, I'm just going to extend off of your question really quickly. Like I said, man, like this comparison of like, if there's 5 people doing the same thing and Bob learns from making a mistake or learn something, and he tells these other 4 people, and then Timmy learns something and he tells these other people, like all of these people are saving so much time that like, if I was over here doing it myself, like the opportunity cost of trying to do it alone is incredibly large. Like, you have to be plugged in with a group doing it together, which is why I'm so big on like the live dial room. I've tried doing things a couple different ways. What I've learned is like doing it in the group setting together with everybody is the best thing to do, because we're all on the same mission, trying to accomplish the same goals. I want to learn and teach you guys all what to do. And I can't do that if it's, if I never hear like Daniel Hodges, if I never ever knew that Daniel Hodges was even like making calls. How can I help him? You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm not there, or maybe I'm in a meeting or like doing something else, like there's other people there to help. So like, not only in the Discord do we have an awesome community of a bunch of different people doing the same thing. Ask your questions there. Let's go there. Text me, email me your calls. Yes, man. Like, get on live dials, unmute, let people hear you, because they're going to critique you in a positive way. That's going to help you be able to be better the next time that you go around and you make your calls again. Right. So perfect, bro. Yeah, I'm going to send it in right now. And this link, like, I think it expires sometimes in a certain amount of time. So if it runs out, just let me know and I'll send you another one. But yeah, I think that doing everything as a community is so huge. It is so powerful because, I mean, like I said, we're all going to be able to learn from each other as we go. We're all on the same mission too. Like when I say this industry and this business has changed my life, like, guys, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. Like last year, like I know Alex Vakota is on this call, and like we were in college last year, and 12 months ago in college, had no plans of, I mean, I kind of wanted to drop out at this. I was planning on dropping out, but like, I mean, if you go back like 15 months, I had no plans on dropping out of school, no plans on doing anything entrepreneurial really. Like I wanted to, I was trying to figure something out. I didn't know what it was going to be. And then I was like, oh man, like Brad Lea's podcast, I'm in, screw everything else. Got dumped by my girlfriend and was like, I'm out, like I'm moving out of Maine. I'm just going to go live with a friend. And like, I mean, because I went full time, I'm making more money than I know, like than I ever thought I would at my age. And I'm helping a lot of people do the same thing. And the opportunities like ahead of where we're at, money aside and like relationships, there's so many great things that we're doing because we're doing it together. So I want to I really do want to provide you guys with every opportunity to be able to be successful. And it's impossible to do it all one-on-one. There's too many people. So we have to get on calls like this. We got to stay plugged in, and we have to like, it sounds kind of corny, but like unite to like commit to want to do this with everybody else. And that's how we all kill it. That's how we all be successful. So my daily schedule, real quick, I'll go over that. I like to wake up early and go to the gym in the morning, and then I'm huge on reading. I love to read. Like I'm like a nerd for like Napoleon Hill. I love listening to his stuff and reading his stuff. So I'm big into just getting new information constantly and consistently. And then I'm dialing. So I'll do Zoom calls and some different things, trying to onboard people in the mornings. And then I'm dialing at like 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I mean, I have 2 different days that I'll kind of run schedule on. Recently, I've been doing 6 a.m. dials so I can dial East Coast leads before it gets kind of crazy and chaotic throughout the day, because I want to get more dials in. Because as the day goes on, I'm like, I get agents calling me, like it's a little bit chaotic sometimes. So I want to get my dials and my presentations in earlier when most people aren't dialing. So I'm dialing really early right now. The other days, like, I'll go to the gym in the morning, I'll read, and then I'll be dialing by 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm trying to hit 2 dial sessions a day and doing Zoom trainings in the afternoon and night. And I'm honestly like, I'm trying to build and build an agency and help a lot of other people be able to do what I've been able to do. So I'm recruiting, I'm building, and I'm just trying to train people, onboard people. There's only 3 things you guys can do inside this industry. And when you keep it simple, when you do these 3 things over and over and over, you win at a large scale. It's sell insurance, you recruit people, and you train those people how to sell insurance. If you do those 3 things, I don't care what you do, in 6 months to 12 months, you will have a functioning asset of an agency. If you recruit 1 person a day and you sell 1 policy a day for 365 days, you'll have a great agency. Like you will have a big agency, but most people can't think that far ahead and can't think that far out. And they end up thinking like they can only see this far in front of their face, and they don't think big picture. So, most people get caught up and stuck thinking like day to day and the maybe like I got hung up on and I'm like, man, like just sell, recruit, and train for 365 days. Like see where you end up, because you'll end up somewhere amazing, and it's super cool. And then you have the ability to impact a lot of lives and help other people do what you're doing and being successful at. Income goal for first 6 months. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I want you guys to be able to make 10 grand a month. Like that's my goal. I want you guys to be able to make at least, 5 grand to 10 grand a month. And if you're doing it full time, that's a great place to start. And when I say start, like this industry has created the most millionaires out of any other industry on the planet. So there's no reason for all of us to not be shooting for more than that. But like, I say this all the time, like we all want something that's going to be able to provide us a ton of income, a ton of money. And people sign up for this and they're like, man, like, I just want my time. And I'm like, yo, look, like you do work for yourself. You can just work when you want, but I would rather see you build something that's going to be an asset that you can now step away from, that still provides you with income because you've taken the time to build something, rather than just signing up and like I don't work for anybody else. I can take vacation for 18 weeks out of the year. And, you know, it is what it is. I would rather work really, really hard right now and just build my book of business and my agency, train a bunch of other people to be able to do what I've been able to do so they can make a lot of money. And then now I have an income producing asset long term that I can actually, like, when I do step away to go on my 18 weeks of vacation, there's no way that I'm not going to be making any money because I own an asset now. Now I truly do have financial freedom. Right now, I truly do have something that's going to be able to produce me with income, but you don't just sign up for that. So the point is that all of the information that I'm sharing with you guys, and that, like, I'm going into a little bit different, like, higher level things with you right now. Like, this is all stuff that I wish people told me when I started. I wish I started building from day one. I wish, even though I didn't know anything about selling insurance, I wish I had just started introducing the opportunity to people, because you know what? Even if I didn't have it figured out, it's kind of selfish to think that I'm going to hold this opportunity away from someone that could take off and run with it. Because if someone else could, like, if I'm thinking, like, from the goodness of my heart, and I'm trying to do the best thing for all the people around me, if I have someone else that doesn't like what they do, but I know that they're hungry and they're ambitious, or if I just come across somebody and I'm like not telling them about the industry just because I haven't found success in it yet, like, that doesn't mean that they're not going to find success in it. That doesn't mean that the training here isn't going to click for them quicker and they're going to be able to figure it out. And I'm just being totally transparent. You're going to be compensated for being able to provide them the opportunity, train them for the opportunity, and teach them how to do what people can do here. So I wish, like, it's the number one thing that everybody says inside the industry is, I wish I started building sooner. And I am on the same page with that, because I didn't really focus on building until about, you know, 5 months ago, probably, is when I really started to really focus on it. And I was just trying to write a ton of business up until then. And I'm glad that I did, because I learned so much. Now I can teach people how to sell, and I can still sell at a high level, but I wish that I started thinking a little bit bigger, a little bit quicker. So I hope that, you know, I know I've thrown a lot at you guys, but I think that doing these Sunday calls would be really, really beneficial for everybody. And, you know, again, man, I'm going to go over the 5 things that I think are super, super key. If you guys want to write them down, it's plug in. It's stay open-minded to learning new information. It's try things and get feedback so you can make those adjustments that you need to. Be consistent and disciplined with the first 3 things, because over and over and over is how you're going to start to stack this up. And, like, I wish I had I don't want to erase that whiteboard, but like, if I was just going to compare, like, 2 people, right? They're both at, like, ground floor. They'd never sold anything. They're both coming in like a green pea, you know, they had no experience. They're both at level 1. Well, what happens is, you know, person A fails a ton week 1. So does person B, but person A goes to their mentor and says, hey, like, these are my results. What do I need to tweak? Now they're able to implement some new decisions. That person levels up. Person B stays in the dark, stays in the corner. Man, this doesn't work. I don't know what's going on. I'm not on live dials. I'm not getting any feedback. They're going to stay right where they're at. They're not going to be able to make any adjustments because they don't know any better. Person B, same thing. They have a little bit better results. Oh man, what do I need to do differently? You're going to change this. You're going to work on this, and you're going to implement this decision differently. Now I'm a level 3. Wow, man. See the gap already? This person, same thing, stays in the dark, trying to figure it out on their own, doesn't want to ask any questions, doesn't want to unmute, doesn't want to get feedback from anybody, stays where they're at. They don't get any new information. They don't learn what to implement differently. This person, same thing, 4th week. What do I need to change? These are my results. I want to be better. I want to start growing in this area. Boom, next level. Guys, this is where you want to be. You want to be this person coming back, getting new feedback, getting new information, learning from people, staying plugged in, asking questions, coming to the people that know the answers. How do I get to the next level? Because, guys, like I said, man, like, I can see things that, you know, a fresh agent can't see. I can kind of guide you on what you should do in this situation so you can start to implement different decisions to be able to get a higher ROI. I can lead you down the path of trying to get, you know, more people on your team, how to train people better, like, whatever it is. Like, I'm doing it now. And there's levels to it, right? So, like, if you're a level 3 and I'm a level 8, like, I can help you. And there's a level 44 up there that I'm trying to learn from that knows way more than I do. And it's just a constant thing. And following these principles is exactly how we can all get to whatever level we want, because the opportunity inside this industry is bizarre. Like, we all have the opportunity to be at whatever level we want, right? And I want you guys to understand this with these principles and the things that I'm teaching you guys can be way farther ahead of me right now if you guys start implementing this stuff this week and you be consistent for 365 days. Like I said, if you guys were to sell a policy a day and recruit one person a day for 365 days, you'd have a functioning asset. You would have reoccurring revenue, back-end payouts, your comp would go up, you'd be making more money per sale, and you'd be having an agency start to get built. So with those things, I hope that this was extremely valuable for you guys. We don't have to stay on here all night, but I just wanted to get on here because I've been really thinking about all this stuff, and I want to help you guys. Like, I really do want to help you guys get to your next level, because when I say this industry has changed my life, like this industry, like my life is completely different, and the trajectory of my life, just because of the opportunity that this industry and Real Financial has provided for me, and the connections that I'm making, the relationships that I have now. Like, guys, 2 years ago, like, I crashed my car and I went inside my house because I was so mad, because I knew I didn't have a credit score to be able to get another car, and I had no money to buy another car. So I literally Googled, how do people make money and how do people get rich? And I found Brad Lea's podcast. Like, that's me 3 years ago. And now, because of the insurance industry and Real Financial, I know Brad personally. I know Andy personally. I talk to them consistently. And now we're friends and we do business together. And like, this industry can provide you guys with the same thing. And these are the principles that I would recommend everybody follows to be able to get there. So I hope that you guys take this information and you really do implement it, because this stuff is foolproof. It will lead you to success. You just got to stay consistent. You got to stay plugged in. You got to get feedback, and you know where to go for it. So anything I can do to help you guys, I'm here. Stay plugged in on the Discord. I really, really hope that we all have a big week this week, and we're gonna have a huge freaking week one way or another. So let's go, baby. Come on. I'll see you guys in the dial room tomorrow. I'll be on there 8 a.m. Eastern time, 6 a.m. my time. I'm excited to have a big week, guys. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Let's kill it.
Thanks, Tyler.
See you guys.